Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. Here to continue with more scout reports for players headed towards the 2014 NFL Draft. Today, I need to talk about Blake Bortles, the quarterback out of UCF, Central Florida. Now the reason why I decided to come up with a scout report today in particular is because of what I just seen in ESPN this morning with Todd McShay's latest mock draft, and he actually drafted Blake Bortles #1 overall to the Houston Texans, and I'm going to give you my opinion later on this blog. But let's talk about Bortles first and where he's coming from. He is actually from the state of Florida, and he's coming from Seminole County football, in which he actually broke records in passing yards and touchdown passes. He had a good career in high school, and he even made it to all-star appearances in high school, and then he actually stayed within the state and went to UCF and had a good career in 3 seasons. Now he redshirted as a freshman, but in his first year as a redshirt freshman, he actually earned all Conference USA freshman quarterback honors. He had a pretty good season, passed for just under 1,000 yards, but he was just wetting his beak a little bit. But in his sophomore campaign, he had an even better performance where he had over 3,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, and also had 8 rushing touchdowns on the ground, which is pretty impressive. Now, it shows that he did improve a lot, but in this past season, he's coming off his best year. He was actually named first team All-American Athletic Conference honors, as well as the Offensive Player of the Year of the league, edging out Teddy Bridgewater, and that's mainly because he actually led the Knights to a major upset over Louisville at Louisville, and that's part of the reason why he won Offensive Player of the Year. And capping the season, he led the team to just a 12-1 record overall and winning the Fiesta Bowl over Baylor, which was a major upset. Most people had the Baylor as the heavy favorites of that matchup, but he ended up proving everybody wrong and edging them out, leading the team to a 52-42 victory. Now let's talk about his little strengths and weaknesses headed towards this year's draft. Now he has the height and the build, the NFL build that you want in a prototypical quarterback. 6'5", 232 pounds. This is a big boy I'm talking about here. Now he's very athletic. He's a good athletic mover. He shows good mobility. As I've said before, he has some rushing touchdowns. He had 8 back in 2012 and then 6 this past season, 2013. It's a couple of that's what I do like about him. Now, as far as his playing style and throwing, he climbs well and uses his eyes well, keeps his eyes down the field, which is a good impressive trait that you want in a quarterback. And he uses his peripheral vision very well. Great vision. He can see pretty much the entire field. Now, he also has good rhythm and timing from the snap of the football to his delivery. Good patience, and he definitely believes in his blockers. He works well staying into the pocket. Now, he shows that everything that you want in a quarterback. He has all the traits. Now, he's not an elite quarterback, but he has a lot of potential, and I do understand why Todd McShay had him at #1. But I'm going to give you my opinion in just a second. Also, he's a great competitor, exploits his toughness. He's a tough quarterback, and he is a true leader. Great leadership skills, and I kind of see why he could be #1 overall. Now, a couple of his weaknesses: he sometimes falls away from his target in his throwing mechanics. He needs to do better in stepping into his throws. He does have good footwork, quick feet, but he needs to working on mechanics and throwing the football. He definitely has the big arm that you're looking for, but as far as to help him throw football with more power, he needs to step into his throws. And another thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that he sometimes he takes too many risky throws, where he would throw especially on man coverage. He sometimes throws the football in window coverage, in which the defensive player is pretty much right next to the receiver, in which the receiver has to make the play. But he did show a little bit of accuracy this past season, over 60% accuracy this past year. And one thing that I did notice, especially in this past season and even in that Fiesta Bowl against Baylor, was his deep ball accuracy. He definitely has a big arm. He could definitely throw the ball down the field, but he is not pretty consistent when it comes to accuracy in the deep ball, which is a little bit of a concern for me. That's pretty much the easiest ball, type of throw to throw to players. I'm saying even myself. Now, Now I don't have the power or the big arm that he has, but I'm pretty accurate. The average person is pretty accurate in landing where that ball needs to be in that deep ball, and he needs to improve in that. And that's pretty much what the scouts are looking for, especially when he has if he goes #1 overall. He has players like Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins, who could definitely get down the field and be big-time deep ball threats, but he needs to be accurate and throwing it, and that's just a little bit of a concern for me. Now, and also another thing, he didn't really play in the biggest competition in the American Athletic Conference, but he is still a good quarterback overall. Now, going back to Todd McShay's opinion to put him at number 1 overall, I highly disagree with him on this one, mainly because this is a little bit of a hunch about me that he's a little bit of a project and trying to hope that he has so much potential to become an elite quarterback. Now, he does have the skills, he does have the size, the build that you want at a quarterback, but I'm just a little bit concerned here. He didn't really have huge impressive numbers, but good managerial numbers that I did like. I do have to give him some props with that, and he does have a little bit of potential and a good upside, but I believe that the other quarterbacks are a little bit more NFL ready, like Teddy Bridgewater and Johnny Manziel. And I'm not going to tell you who I think who should go number 1 overall, because they're still debating it, but I don't agree with Todd McShay's opinion and going with Blake Bortles, because like I said, the deep ball, his deep ball accuracy is a little bit in question, and there are better passing quarterbacks in my opinion, like Derek Carr as well as Teddy Bridgewater. Not too much like Johnny Manziel, because he doesn't have the strength of the arm as Blake Bortles, but he's actually more accurate than Blake Bortles, and he shows a lot of finesse and running the football as well. Great elusiveness, better mobility, and he definitely makes more plays compared to Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is more of a project, and you kind of had that little bit of a hunch. I have a little bit of a hunch that he might be a flop in the National Football League, but he does have a lot of upside towards him. I do see that, because he does have the size and the look that you want at quarterback, and he does have the skills, and he showed it at UCF. But at the same time, I just have a little bit of a hunch that there are better quarterbacks, passing quarterbacks, who are NFL ready. Now, if the Houston Texans do decide to pick him at number 1 overall, in my opinion, they need to keep Matt Schaub to help teach him at quarterback. Matt Schaub made a couple of Pro Bowls for the Texans. He had a couple of great seasons, and I think he could get the tutelage to Blake Bortles to become an elite quarterback. So that's just my opinion if the Houston Texans go with Bortles number 1 overall. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is later on today. I'm going to give you a second scout report, and I'm going to head towards the defensive side and give you a defensive player. Thank you for watching this blog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.